All right, this is Lkuti Sichot, Gimel. And so from the Frieda Kapara Sedra, in the end of the previous Torah portion, Shmot, Vert Artzeld is told Vegan der Shaila about the question what Moshe Rabbeinu had gefragt, which Moshe asked God. And what's the question that Moshe asked God? Lama harayota lamazeh. Why are you torturing the Jewish people? Why are you doing harm to the Jewish people? Why are you making it bad? And there's Shturim from Shaila, the heat, the emphasis of this question is Vikumtes. How can it be as from dem Eibishter's Ashlichus Durach Moshe? How can it be that through God and God's messenger, Durach Moshe, and this is talking about taking the Jews out of Egypt, Zolkin and Roiskim can come out in such a thing as Hariosa, bad, torture from Ra. How can it be? God, you're sending me to take the Jews out of Egypt. You told me, you talked to me. And the burning bush, 7 days, God is trying to convince. Finally, he says, okay, Moshe says, okay, I'll go with Aaron will go with you. God says, okay, now go to the Jewish people and tell them they're going to get out. So he goes to the Jewish people and he shows them the signs. He takes the snake and the stick makes it into a snake and etc. And the Jewish people say, okay, we believe you, Moshe. And Moshe says, we're going to go out of Egypt, everyone. Everybody says, yay, we're leaving Egypt. This is the promise. And what happens after that? Everything gets worse. It gets worse, much worse. Instead of reading the next day in the newspapers, Paro dropped dead, or Paro decided he's going to do the 7 Noahide commandments or something. No, Paro wakes up and says, why are you Jews not working? You know, you're going to have to work harder now. I'm not going to give you straw. Up to now, I've been a nice guy. I've been giving you straw to make the bricks, working 23 hours a day. Now, no more straw. No more straw. You're not getting any straw. Go and find your own straw in the field, and you have to bring the same amount of bricks. If you don't, you all get beaten. So the Jewish people came to Moshe and said, what type of a redemption is this? I mean, we thought we voted for you. What's going on over here? So Moshe went to God and said, God, they're right. The Jewish people are right. Why are you doing this bad? Because the shlichus is given vegan gulas Mitzrayim. Especially, why was Moshe being sent to the Jewish people? Not to give them money or to give them some sort of spiritual power, to take them out of Egypt. A gula versus kula tov, it's a totally good thing. Durach hashliach, and who was taking them out? By Moshe Rabbeinu. Was oifim, by him it says, Vatero also kitovu. As soon as he was born, it says that he was good. And Gansen Tovi was totally good. Bald born, immediately when he was born. Iser Gaven Nor Tovi was only good. Unz Mishaleach, and also the one who was sending him is the Gaven, the Eibishter is God. The Kavoda Batzmo, and his essence. Bal Tzurib Ben was Yidden in Mitzrayim, Zayin Gaven, far Zunken in Memtes Sharituma, because the Jewish people were sunk, it says, in the 49 gates of impurity. Therefore, going out of Egypt, it couldn't come in a normal way, from a Zoy Madriga, from a level of godliness, versus Eingetan, which is in the world. It couldn't come through some sort of a normal process. The Jews themselves were so deep into exile. Was Bemele is Dor Da, and or there's a place for Kitrugim Midas Adin. Because if things would have come natural, then there could have been what's called the kidrugim, the aspect of God's severity. Sometimes it's also called the Satan. Could come and say, these Jewish people, you're going to redeem them from Egypt. Look at these people. Look what they're doing. Right? They're saying Lashon Hora. They're worshiping idols. They're doing terrible stuff. The Jewish people, you're going to redeem these people? So therefore, God said, I'm not going to redeem them in anything that has anything to do with nature. I'm taking them out only because I want to take them out. If so, what are we saying? That the purpose was a great one, taking the Jews out of Egypt. The one taking them out was amazing. Moshe Rabbeinu, he was pure from the minute he was born. And the one that's sending Moshe is God, from the essence of God. Und the Geula had gemusst kommen, the redemption had to come from God himself. Was is doch avada, which God certainly is good. God is, it says, bechinas at the level of atik, leis smola b'hayatika. It says in Kabbalah, there's no left side, there's no severity in this high level of God. The Rebbe, therefore, Shaila, therefore, Moshe has a great question. Vibal decide the shlichus, because that both what he's being sent to do and also the one who's doing it, me, Moshe, and how much more so God, who's ultimately infinitely pure good, as Viazoy has come, how could it possibly be that that you're doing bad to the Jewish people? Moshe said, please, it's just amazing. Just doesn't understand it. And especially because Moshe Rabbeinu was talking about the Jewish people. We saw in last week's Torah portion that it says that Moshe was on his way to take the Jews out of Egypt, and God wanted to kill him. It says God sent a big serpent to kill him, and it was because he didn't circumcise his son for whatever reason, really good reasons, or he thought about a place to sleep before he thought about whatever it was. A very small reason God wanted to kill him. We didn't see that Moshe Rabbeinu, he pleaded or he complained to God. God, why are you killing that? Because that was occurring to him. It was occurring to Moshe. But now it's all the Jewish people. And God, you want the Jewish people to get out. Good, maybe you'll send another person to send the Jewish people out. You want to kill me? Moshe said, okay, send someone else. Maybe Aaron will take them out. Who knows? But now it's all the Jewish people. These are the ones you want to take out of Egypt. You sent me to take them out. So the goal is a good one. And you, for sure, God, you're good. And I'm good. I mean, I was born, it says, pure. That's why you picked me. So why are you doing these bad things to the Jews? This doesn't fit in anywhere. Or if them is gekommen, the answer, and this comes the answer, and Ane, from the beginning of this week's Torah portion, from the Eibishter, from God, by Yomer Hashem, that God said, the Moshe, Ani Avai, I'm God. V'Eiron al Avram, and I appeared to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, V'Shmei Hashem, but the name, my name, like we just learned in the Mimer, my name of my essence, lo nodati lehem. I did not make known to them. V'gam hakimotzi, and also I'm keeping now with my covenant with you. The God answered Moses, as Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov haven gehat asach nisyonos. That Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, it says they had a lot of tests, and I didn't even appear to them in my essence. Und von deswegen, and nevertheless, they didn't ask any questions. Chaval al da'avden below mishkachim. If I would have just left Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov to take the Jews out of Egypt, they wouldn't have asked any questions. They wouldn't have asked any questions. I'm sorry I picked you, Moshe. Now you're asking questions. That's the answer. That's what it says. B'shem avai alona datilem. I appeared to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in a lower name, not in my full essence, like I'm appearing to you. And they didn't ask any questions. What are you asking questions? Says the Rebbe, no, it's really not understood. The answer, this makes the question even worse, is done if verstandig. This is totally not understood. For vos hataka Moshe Rabbeinu gefragt the kasha. Why did Moshe ask a question? Please I would like to just take one moment, a break, please. Let's take okay. So God answered Moshe, and he said, listen, I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in a lower aspect of me, and they didn't ask any questions. Right? Why are you asking questions, Moshe? Says the Rebbe, this is really not understandable. For vos hataka Moshe Rabbeinu gefragt kasha. So let's go back to the beginning. Why did Moshe really ask a question? Moshe Rabbeinu had the doch gehat a hechra madrega. Moshe Rabbeinu had a higher level from Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Is doch given the Shavi. He was the number 7. There's Zibitzer from Avram Avinu. He was the 7th from Avram. When the Chazal Zagan and the rabbis say, call a Shavim Chavivim. Every number 7 is dear. As the Shavi is Bazundur Chaviv. The number 7th is the most dear. Like Shabbos is the 7th day, is the dearest. Right? While Zayin Madrega is Hecher from the Friedeker. So if so, Moshe was even higher than Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. When we built as the Avos had Nitgefrekt, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they didn't ask any questions. And their whole essence of Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov was to give birth to the Jewish people. So they were also thinking about the Jewish people, and they didn't ask any questions. God did so many terrible things to them, especially when he told Abraham to take his son and sacrifice him. That would have been the end of all the Jews, right? Avram was 137 years old. If he would have killed Yitzchak, that's it. There wouldn't have been any Jewish people, right? They would have to start the whole story over again. But Abraham didn't have any questions. And so, how can it be as Moshe Rabbeinu Hadya? Why is it that Moshe did ask a question? Number 2, Vibalt is the Eibishter hat mit sein Enfer, because God, with his answer to Moshe, as the Avos and Nitgefrekt, that the Avos did not ask any questions, as unterstreichen, this stresses the mile of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, that they were better than Moshe. Instead of God saying, I appeared to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Gedarv Zogin, he should have said, why Yaakov? Yisrael. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yisrael. And the main name of Yaakov was not Yaakov. The main name of Yaakov was Yisrael. It says after he fought with the angel, God changed his name. So he changed his name. After Abraham had his name changed, God never went back and called him Avram again, called him Avraham. So, okay, Yaakov, after he had his name changed as to Yisrael, as God did go back and call him Yaakov, good, but still Yisrael was still the main name. That was the main name. So it should say, if God is trying to stress how great the Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were, he should have said, I appeared to Avram, Yitzchak, and to Yisrael. What is their shame? What is this is the highest name of Yaakov. This is higher from Yaakov. He should have used the name Yisrael, God, because he was trying to stress how great the fathers were. Should have said Avram, Yitzchak, and Yisrael. All the stories from the Torah are a teaching to us. For Yidden, for every single Jew. Befrat is as a Zoy Benogea to them Sipur, especially the story which we want to know, is the Torah Vil Nit Zagan a Davar Meguna. We know that the Torah always tries to avoid saying a negative thing. Even when it talks about an animal, instead of saying an animal, tameah, it says animal, tahora. Instead of saying the animals which are impure, it says the animals which are not pure. It tries to, the Torah tries to. Sometimes it's inevitable that it has to say a negative word. But the Torah always tries to make effort to not to say negative things. Unavada, and certainly when it's talking about Havdil ben Yidden, when it's talking about Jews, was is which the Jews are the chosen of all creations. Umikol shechein vegen Moshe Rabbeinu, especially Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the chosen of all the Jews. Right? What does it mean that the chosen? In one way, a plant is better than a rock. What does it? Was it better? They're both creations of God. A plant has more mobility. An animal has more mobility, more consciousness, if you want to call it. An animal has more mobility than a plant. A human has more mobility than an animal. They can share ideas. They can convince one another. A Jew, though, has an awareness of the Creator. That's what a Jew has. And Moshe had a super awareness of the Creator. If so, from deswegen hat sich the Torah nicht abgehalten. The Torah could not refrain from saying a thing which is not good about Moshe Rabbeinu. What does God say? Oh, I regret that I sent you. Right? To Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, I appeared in a lower name and I did bad things to them. They didn't have any questions. And to you, I'm appearing to my essence and you have questions. If so, why does it say a not nice thing about Moshe? Muzman Dachzagan, we have to say, as essence is a hechrech, gomer, it must be really necessary in them. Und das is zu lieb, zu geben, damit a hora. And it must be that somehow or other this is a teaching, because the whole thing of the Torah is teaching. The word Torah means, hora means teaching. From Yeder Yidden for every single Jew in every single generation, as the Hanhaga, was is angenommen, by them Eberstern, that this conduct which God did is to ois kleben them Weg is that we should choose the way of the fathers, unit fregen kein shilas. The kushas that we should do what Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov did and not ask questions. What's so good about not asking questions? God said, "Oh yeah, I wish I would have." Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, they were still around. Right? I should have given them longer life. I don't like this that you're asking questions. So it must be somehow or other. It's not good to ask questions. Now, that doesn't make much sense. I mean, the whole essence of Judaism is questions. It says if a person doesn't have questions, it's a sign that he's not interested. That he doesn't want any, right? No questions. The essence of Judaism is asking questions, to be interested in Judaism. The whole sort of Pesach starts off with the children asking questions. The whole Gemara, the Talmud is just questions. That's an essential ingredient. A healthy thing in Judaism is questions. And now Moshe is asking questions. God says, "Oi, I hate the questions. What are you asking questions for? If it was Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, they didn't ask questions, and you're asking questions. It's disgusting. I don't want anything to do with you." What type of a thing is this? Why? It's not good to ask questions. I don't understand. Well, it seems here it's not good. Is this lichi or is there shver to understand? This is very difficult to understand. Via Zoy is shayach as yeder yid, that every single Jew, ubefrat, in them door from Ikvus the Mashiach, now in our generations, which were the heels of the Mashiach, which means two things. That we're the lowest generation, we're the heels, and also means we're right at the heels of the Mashiach, we're almost there. Is how can it be our generation? Haben de Brera and so oiskleben sich einen from the zwei derachim. That we have the ability to choose one of these two ways. Either the way of the Avos, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and accept everything and not ask any questions, or the Moshe Rabbeinu, or the way of Moshe to ask questions, and God said, "I don't like that." We really have a choice, one way or the other. We understand what's going on. Emes Takat's true. The rabbis say, "Ein dor she'ein bo ka'Avram." There's no generation that there isn't someone like Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Ve'ein dor she'ein bo Moshe, and there's no generation that there is no someone like Moshe. She is nitaka door. There is no generation. Was in im is nit faran and Avram. Just a translation, which there is no Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Un she is nita zodor, and there's no generation. Was in im is nita faran a Moshe. There's also every generation has a Moses. They're mid main and they're aber nor yechidi segula. But here we're talking about only unique people. I can choose, should I be like Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, or should I be like Moshe? Where am I? And we're compared to Moshe. What type of a choice is this? I can be, the Torah is Dach, Aber, Gegeben, Gevoren, so Allah, to the true, the Torah was given to all the Jews. Torah, Allah, Rov, Medaber, and the Torah, when it speaks, is speaking about the majority. The Torah from Torah, Rechen sich Biker, mit die eingeschaffen from their Mehrheit Yidden, from the ability of the majority of Jews. If so, the majority of Jews they don't really have this ability to get to the level of Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Moshe. Is via Zoe can men us Zogan, as Rov Yisrael, how can we say that the majority of the Jews, that they can have, that what's their big dilemma in life is whether they should choose the way of Moshe and ask questions about God, or the way of the Avos and not ask questions about God. That's what's on our mind. What is the Torah telling us? Okay, but obviously it is telling us. And it's telling us something very important. Something that's life-changing. The difference between Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Moshe Rabbeinu is the level of Moshe Rabbeinu was called Chachma. Chachma means pure awareness of God. Vi Moshe had gatav, like he said about himself, Anachnu ma, that we are like nothing. Ma, Chach, ma, koach ma. Had angehört their ma, the Chachma, that Moshe felt this level of God's Chachma. What's Chachma? Life, pure awareness of God's life. Which therefore is them gegeben geboren the Torah. Therefore, through Moshe was given the Torah, because the Torah is called the book of life, Torah Chaim. Wazeh is the Eibishter's Chachma, which the Torah is God's wisdom. Every word of the Torah, every idea of the Torah is pure life. When they're Inyan from the Avos, this whole idea of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Be'erach from Moshe, and in comparison to Moshe, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, their main thing is midot, emotions. The avoda from Avram Avinu, the service from Avram Avinu, is mainly in love. Loving God, loving everybody. When had gedint, he served God through a way of love. Via state, like it says, Avram Oavi. Oich ben Agea Zayin, and also the way Avram dealt with people. Hotter Gomel Chesed, that he used to do kindness. He gave food, he gave the element to everyone, whether physically or spiritually. The avoda from Yitzchak, the service from Yitzchak, was mainly in Gevura. Was in a way of Gevura, how do you say, power, strength, unyira, fear of God, awe. Avram was like water. Yitzchak was like fire. V'yashtei, like it says, the pachad Yitzchak, the fear of Yitzchak, the level of fear which was that of Yitzchak. As had gedin, the Eibishter mit pachad and yira, that he served God from fear and awe, trembling. Und therefore, hat euch in Welt nicht gekannt, sovel sein, kein Shumra, couldn't any bad. like a surgeon, right? Like a surgeon. A surgeon is a person that he cuts, he knows what he's doing, he's exact, he's precise, he sees what's good, he sees what's bad, he takes out what's bad, he fixes what's good. That's like Yitzchak. Yitzchak is like a surgeon, right? Surgeon, he sees what's bad, he takes away the bad, he wants to get rid of, he's very, very, how do you say, exact, right? Power. Avram is like good, giving blessings. I feel a bit bedakos, even he can't stand any sort of bad, even very, very fine, refined bad. He can't take it. But Sulib then, because of this, Zaina Bayim, he was blinded by the idolatry. The says Yitzchak in his last years, he was blind because of the smoke of the idolatry of Esav's wives. He couldn't take, he couldn't bear any sort of a smell from idolatry from the daughters of Canaan. The avoda from Yaakov Avinu, and the service from Yaakov Avinu was mainly in Tiferes, beauty, splendor. Rachamim was his kalul from Chesed and Gevura, which Yaakov was both of them together. Chesed and Gevura, balance. Usually that's the Torah. Therefore, Hatar Getan, Elokei Avi Yitzchak v'Pachad Avram, he said, the God of my father Avram and the fear of Yitzchak were to me, it says. Hayu li, were to me. That's Yaakov. Und sein Mida, and his aspect was he included both Avram and Yitzchak, love and fear, kindness and spirit and severity. Therefore, Zayin and Allah, Zayin and Yanim, therefore everything they did was complete. He knew how to balance between kindness and Mateo Shlema. It says that his mitato Shlema, it says that his bed was complete. All of his children were wholesome. Valdurach, Avram had one son, Ishmael came out not good. Yitzchak had one son, Esav, also not good. Yaakov, it says that mitat shlema, all of his children were good. Valdurach hazoy avod, because through such work, we can take two opposite emotions. Ken mendurach gain. Therefore, if we have the aspect of Yaakov, we can go through all difficulties and tests. Side and nisyonis, whether the test of richness or the test of the harchava, or when a person is, like it says, vayifrotz ish mod mod, he was very rich, and his richness didn't make him leave God, which is very unusual. Side the nisyon from dochek, or whether the poverty that he had, well, like when Esav was running after him, he said, with 400 men, he didn't, nevertheless, he was complete. Okay, so now we've explained what the Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were. We haven't gotten to Moshe yet. But let's remember what we're talking about here. Moshe Rabbeinu asked from God. He demanded from God. I want an answer. Why are you torturing the Jewish people? Why? The Rebbe said, first of all, the question, what was Moshe's question? His question was, God, you are good. The purpose I'm going for is good. You picked me because you believe that I'm good. If so, why? How can bad come out from this? And God answered him, don't ask questions. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they didn't ask questions. You also didn't ask questions. So the Rebbe said, what is this relevant to us, this whole thing? What is it relevant to us? The Torah is here to teach us something. What's it coming to teach us? How is it relevant that we should be like the Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, not ask questions, or that, right, and not they were okay, not ask questions, or even be like the level of Moshe and yes, ask questions. It's saying that Moshe did. Moshe was very high. He asked questions, so maybe we should also ask. What is happening here? So the Rebbe explained, who is Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov? Avram is the love of God. Yitzchak is fear and awe of God. Yaakov is balance, using both fear and love properly. That's what is Moshe Rabbeinu? That we're going to learn tomorrow, God willing. Now we'll just do Yom Yom. And in the morning mimer, if you remember the mimer that we just finished learning, we're saying that the Jews leaving Egypt is like a fetus going out of its mother's womb. That's what it means, vo'era. That's what it means. God said, I will appear to you. Today is the 26th day of Tavis. Right, when we make the blessing, Lamalshinim al Tikva, we make a little space between Utmager, we stop and we say V'tachnia. Why? Because the intention is spiritually that Ta'aker Teshaber V'samager, that we say that the powers of evil should be uprooted and broken and whatever is destroyed. This corresponds to the three klippas that have to get rid of totally. The tachnia, this refers to klippas noga, that we just have to subjugate it, and it's possible to purify it. All right, everyone, see you at 3 o'clock, God willing, and we'll learn Chumash with Rashi and Or HaChaim, etc. God bless you all. Have a good day. Good. What is Chalenging? What is this Chalenging? Very Chalenging. Okay. What does it mean? What does it mean?